right at 10. The news doesn't stop, and neither do we. These images of a firefight, boy, did these firefighters have a firefight on their hands. This comes to us from the East Coast. It's South Carolina, and it's just within about 3 miles of the ocean. You know, you think when you're close to the ocean, and you're not way up high in some remote desert area or up in a mountainous region, but you're right down there by the ocean, that the ocean breezes would stop fires from happening. We got that picture. We got this image as well, and some of the video that came into the newsroom this weekend. So this is the Carolina forest area, and it is literally 3 miles to the beach at Myrtle Beach, one of the most popular tourist areas. But as you can see, look at those flames. I mean, these firefighters got out there fast, and you know what? Despite the winds, boy, it seems like a lot of places in the country have been dealing with the winds. But when it comes to these fires that they've been fighting, they got out there with a large enough number of people that they were on top of it almost right away. And from the reports I'm seeing, every home was saved. This is Covington Drive. This fire has been mapped to about 1,600 acres, but you can see they had all kinds of trucks on it, and they were able to at least save the homes. Looks like a lot of forest land was destroyed. But that's more than one of 175 wildfires, that have burned over 4,000 acres in the Carolinas. We talk about it. Celeste joins, by the way, as well. Celeste, we talk about
Ron,
the
good
fire
morning.
season, but it's 12 months a year now.
Yeah, it really is. I think this has been working here in the valley for many, many years and being from here. I think this may be the first time in Arizona where we've started to see some of these fires and temperatures as warm as they've been
Yeah,
in the winter months.
yeah.
In California, the Santa Ana winds, those used to die down by beginning of November, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't used to see fires kind of move through like they have there
Well,
in the Palisades.
yeah, and these winds are responsible for a lot of it. We're going to be talking about how the winds may have led to just a horrific crash out on the I-10 freeway. But thanks for spending some time with us here on Fox 10 Talks. I'm Ron Hoon. This is Celeste Rodriguez.
Hello, good morning.
Good
Welcome
morning,
back, Ron
everybody.
Hoon.
Thank you. Good
People
to
were
be back.
crying. There were tears.
Were there tears
There
shed?
were
Okay.
tears. There was, posters made, protests, demonstrations.
Wow.
I'm surprised you didn't hear it all the way from
Yeah,
D.C.
the making of posters, I thought that kind of died out back in like sixth grade, Celeste, but okay.
Yeah, it was like the 60s, like the
Yeah.
chants through the streets and,
Oh, good. Okay.
demonstrations.
Sure. Yeah. Well, we have so many stories to cover this morning, and a lot of them have to do with the winds and the fire. So fire struck an East Valley mobile home park early this morning. It was about 6 a.m. And we got out there live. We were reporting on it. We were flying overhead with our helicopter, Sky Fox. But then we learned the awful news just in the last hour or two, that while no people died in this fire, 17 animals did. 12 cats, 5 dogs, all trapped inside. They weren't able to get out. Now, the woman who rescued them and kept them, she thought, safe in that mobile home. This is out there at around Hawes and Main Street, out there kind of in the area between Mesa and Apache Junction. And she spoke. She was willing to speak about it, but you could tell she's overcome with grief.
Very near and dear to my heart. This is my life. This is what I do. I live to rescue animals. I don't have any children. I just have animals. And as I was telling him, I'm getting a master's degree in equine science because I want to rescue horses as well. And it breaks my heart that they were here. I have some animals at the place in Apache Junction where I was staying, but the ones that were here were yappers, and the gentleman that I was taking care of, who passed away Thursday, he didn't like the yapping. It bothered him. He was 88 years old. It bothered him, so I left him here, and I came here every day to take care of him, and they didn't deserve this.
Can you tell me what
what you felt when you drove up here today and saw the house the way it is.
I was devastated. I was just totally devastated. I mean, the animals is the first thing on my mind. The second thing was my mom's wedding rings, which the firemen found my safe, and I got the safe, but it looks like they're melted. But at least I think I have them. But the animals were the first thing on my mind. The other things can be replaced, but they didn't deserve this.
Oh.
And here then are some of the images from Skyfox. And when we first started flying overhead, a lot of mobile homes out in that area, kind of the far east end of the valley. And you always worry, a fire at 6 in the morning, did the people there make it out alive? Well, this woman lived elsewhere and actually used the whole mobile home just to house animals that she rescues, dogs and cats, as I say, 17 total. And of course, they were not able to escape. So it's about as heartbreaking. And I mean, you could hear her fighting back the tears, Celeste, the whole
Yeah,
time.
it was just heartbreaking. I thought Irene did a really great job in covering the story this morning because when you're on scene in a situation like this, you think, my goodness, as she's doing something to help the community and help these animals. And that's just, I don't know if we've seen a story quite like this in a while.
Yeah. Well, it was a unique situation because nobody was living there. She just used it literally as a place to keep all those animals. I think she
Yeah.
has some other locations as well and would go over there and feed them every day. And just really a tough situation. Did you hear about the fire that was so intense? Look, it burned the signs right off of the building. I mean, they were melting. This is at Purcell's. That's a really popular tire shop over there at about the I-17, the Black Canyon Freeway, and McDowell. Firefighters, they found a big pile of tires on fire. Good luck getting those things knocked down. Crews set up their ladder trucks, but again, firefighters just being called upon time and time again out there in the East Valley with the mobile home fire, and then out here kind of on the edge of the West Valley right there at the 17. And they did what they could, but when you're dealing, and that's such a huge facility for Purcell's. So, hopefully there wasn't a lot of additional damage, but boy, what a night for firefighters. And then when it comes to first responders, the story that came in from this week, and look at that image.
Oh, geez.
Again, here we have firefighters out there on scene. You're going to have EMTs, you're going to have paramedics. But in case you missed it, there was a bad crash on the I-10 freeway in the eastbound lane. So those are folks generally coming from California. It was Saturday in the afternoon on the 10 around Tonopah. You've almost made it home. But firefighters were on scene. DPS, ambulances, etc. But from what we understand, troopers on scene, look, that one vehicle completely flipped over. Troopers on scene said it's very possible that the winds created a dust situation. All of a sudden, you're going 70 miles an hour, you slam on your brakes, and the people don't have time to stop.
Well, and I was out and about on Saturday, and I'm sure plenty of people who were across Arizona, maybe if you were, but you could hear the wind whipping. The breezes that were moving through, we say it was breezy, but it was wild weather.
Yeah.
And so there's no doubt that maybe the weather could have been a factor in this crash, which is heartbreaking.
I just wonder if they should consider putting in a dust detection setup on the 10.
It's a good idea.
Like there in that area, say, in the open desert from Quartzsite into Phoenix, like they already have in place down kind of in the Casa Grande area, because we know those haboobs, those desert storms, they come slamming into that area, and it can be frightening when you drive into a wall of dust.
Well, and unfortunately we've seen in the last week maybe 3 or 4 days where you've had these dust storms move through. ADOT has done a great job with some of those detection systems down in southern Arizona, so that's pretty wise if they want to do that on the I-10 in the West Valley near Tonopah.
Yeah. Well, our weather is constantly changing.
It
just might be another area to think about. I mean, think about how much traffic we get on the 10 from basically Blythe California into the valley.
Yeah.
I mean, it was 2 lanes, I think, back in like the 1980s, and it's still just 2 lanes, and it probably handles, I bet you it handles double or triple the amount of traffic. They probably need to get that thing to 3 lanes all across the open desert in Arizona.
Ron is, you are a proponent of 3 lanes in
Yeah.
all directions on
Correct.
every freeway
Well, I was
across the state. But it's a great idea. You make a good point.
I was flabbergasted when I moved here that it was just back in 1982 that it was just 2 lanes between here and Tucson, 2
Yeah.
major American Western cities. And
Fortu-
it's still 2 lanes, but
It-
at least they're working on it now.
Well, in some parts, there are 3 lanes.
Down around Eloy, Marana.
And Casa Grande.
Yeah,
And then you drive up and then past Marana.
right.
There's 3 lanes there. And then as you get closer to Tucson, then it kind of gets to 2 lanes and you go back to the freeway kind of format when you get into town. But yeah, we do need it full.
A couple of other
Okay.
stories to just kind of cover for you real quickly. You may have heard about them in the news, but it's been about as violent a weekend as we've had in a very long time. It was the ER, Celeste, that turned into a crime scene this weekend in Scottsdale.
Mhm.
And who opened fire? The patient who had been taken to the
It
hospital.
was crazy.
Yeah, so this is just off the 101 in Shea at the Honor Health Shea Medical Center. But apparently, police said the shooter had been brought into the ER by a family member. We don't know what the original, situation was. But then he's got a gun. Who thinks if you're handling an ER and you're in there to save lives that some guy's packing heat
Yeah,
in the
no kidding.
ER?
And they have security, but
Yeah.
the security doesn't know what's about to happen.
Sure. I mean, it's just
This is not a
unbelievable.
common occurrence.
Yeah, and these are people who dedicate their lives to saving lives, and they have to be subject to that. We are told that one security guard had to be transferred to a different hospital with a trauma center. So that's just one more instance of kind of the craziness that can happen in this big old city of ours with 5 million people, and you never know what's going to happen next. Celeste?
Yes,
We
Ron.
have a mystery cam. I like this one because I don't believe I've ever seen it before. Now, to me, is the lake frozen? Is that what I'm seeing, Celeste?
I think it looks like, yes.
Yeah, okay. You guys at home can guess. It's mystery cam time. Celeste, of course, is there to communicate with you, and we'll be back in 2 minutes. You know, with our great weather, our nice warm March weather, you forget how cold it can be in other places across the USA. Celeste and I, in the break, we were watching, and you guys can see this now too. Right at the end of the pier, just beyond the pier, is some adventurous fella who walked right out onto the icy lake.
And he's on the edge of
Yeah.
what looks like the thickest portion of the ice,
Right.
taking a gander at the rest of the lake. Maybe he's thinking, should I? Should I not? Should I?
You know what's
should
funny?
I not?
When I was a kid, my aunt and uncle lived on a lake that froze every winter up in Washington. We would go out there and try our hand at ice skating.
Would you?
Yeah.
I was expecting you to say ice fishing. We do have, let me go to the chat box, Ron.
Okay.
Thank you all for sharing your thoughts and guesses with us this morning. We want to give a big shout out to Susan Neal. Susan, is this your first time joining us? We'd love to welcome you to the chat box and to the stream.
Welcome, Susan.
And Kim Winnett said the Mayo Clinic Hospital in North Phoenix, they check all people before they enter.
Gosh.
So
Sad commentary
I
on today's
know.
society, but
All right.
there you go.
Well, let's go to the mystery cam. We have a few Wisconsins.
Okay.
Leo Mack, B. Miguel. I'm gonna go with you guys.
Okay.
Linda Monter says Minnesota. Kim Winnett says Michigan.
All right.
Susan Anthony says Jersey. We have a Wyoming from Lisa Dinsmore.
Mhm.
And Tyler Lewis says, where is Ron? Not been. That is the question.
Okay. Well, yeah, I just finally hit my 50th state of North Dakota, and they have a couple of big cities, but they're not on an icy lake. They have Fargo and Grand Forks, and I love them both. They're really neat
I like how you
towns.
say Fargo.
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 Fargo. So you're going with Wisconsin?
I'm going to go Wisconsin.
Okay.
Oh, wait, here's the envelope.
And I'm going to go with Michigan. Oh, no, wait, Minnesota.
You're going to go Minnesota.
All
So
right, here we
Minnesota
go.
and Wisconsin.
Yes, there we go.
Madison, Wisconsin.
Oh, wow. Celeste,
There
congratulations.
we go. Madison,
You know,
Wisconsin.
Madison is one of those rare towns that's wedged between a couple of lakes, and they actually have the capital on like an isthmus.
Uh-huh.
I don't mean to like
So-
out scientific you here, Celeste, but you know, on a narrow strip of land
Okay.
between the lakes is where the capital is, and it's also the
Oh.
home, Madison is, of the University of Wisconsin.
It is, you're right. And so is this part of the isthmus is the question.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. Well, no, I think it's just one of the two lakes. But yeah, it does look chilly there, that's for sure. Oh, look, the guy's edging out now. Can you see him? He looks like he's one more column on the pier, but he's too tall for that.
He's at the very edge.
Yeah.
Leo Max says, LOL, the mystery cam is also Ron's story time.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so let's go to some of the pictures from right here in AZ. I want to show you what is going on. You're looking at the latest pictures coming in as the snow continues to fly. By the way, this is why they have to close the road up to the north rim of the Grand Canyon. So this is up there at Jacob Lake. And you've got the lodge right there. Last time I was driving through that area, I had to pop in and buy myself a T-shirt. You ever see my Grand
Oh.
Canyon North Rim T-shirt?
I don't think I've seen it.
Well, you got to show up at my gym.
Well, I wonder if they sell it at that Chevron gas station. Had you ever stopped there, Ron? I wonder if there's like somebody who like lives behind the gas station.
Well, surely they keep it open in the wintertime.
Yeah.
Because even though they close the road that goes down to the North Rim, which is such a beautiful drive, you're like in alpine meadows. You're like, did I leave Arizona and now I'm in Switzerland?
What is happening?
But the main highway there obviously goes from that area around Page and Lee's Ferry all the way over to Kanab and Fredonia.
Yes.
And so, yeah, that would be the only gas station for miles around. I always thought it would be super cool to have the only gas station for miles around.
Yeah, because it's the only place people can go.
Correct.
What would you have there? Would you have freshly sliced mangoes? Like, would you have a gourmet section, Ron, for people who can't make it to a grocery
Yeah.
store?
In fact, I put a big sign out front that says, yes, we have mangoes today.
What about street tacos?
No,
Come on, bring
no, I'm
it.
going to keep it with the fruit category.
We
we're
need
gonna have
protein.
pineapple. Yeah, we'll have every imaginable.
Fruit.
We'll have kiwis. You know the whole thing. Celeste. I don't know. Sometimes we try to hash out our business ideas. They don't,
We do, and
They
this
don't
is-
really work.
No, but
Yeah.
with the brainstorming part is an important process of the creative.
Correct.
You
Or
right?
so we tell ourselves. It's still snowing in Flagstaff. I love this
This
picture
is
as
so
well. It's just
great.
not quite enough to stick, but you can see right there in our camera, downtown Flagstaff. I suppose the
Oh,
road
so
crews kind of
beautiful.
like it like this, where, you're just getting the whiff of winter without having to put those snowplows out
So you
there.
know what's cool, Ron? You see the Orpheum Theater there farther than the Weatherford Hotel on the left-hand side.
Yeah.
So they've had some really great concerts there. The years that I lived in Flagstaff, I went to this bluegrass festival that was held at the Orpheum.
Oh, yes.
And it was the most amazing concert. Like they had like 9 people up on stage. It was so
It's like the
great.
Grand Ole Opry
It
kind of,
really
right?
was like
Yeah.
some of those festivals, but Flagstaff is known for things like that. And
Now,
it's just they have so much history
did you
too.
go there as a single lady, or would this have been a date?
I was there as a single lady, Ron.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah,
Okay.
all the single ladies.
All the single ladies. All right. Hey, we got plenty of other things to talk about this morning, including the fact, Celeste, that after all these years of being a holdout, and I don't really understand why, they finally announced today that Domino's Pizza is going to have stuffed crust pizza.
It's about time.
Yeah. By the way, they are the world's largest pizza chain, Celeste.
Uh-huh.
It's going to blow your mind when I show you the poll question here in about 1 minute, because people have opinions. Anyway, they finally announced at their
Wow.
7,000 U.S. stores, they're going to start selling them this week. Don't know if that means today, but in the next couple of days.
Yes.
And they start them at $9.99, embedded with mozzarella and topped with garlic seasoning and sprinkles of Parmesan. It sounds mouthwatering.
Okay, can we just say this poll question is fire?
It is crazy. I mean, okay, so I
Wait till
hopped
you
in
all
here.
see this. This is so fabulous.
Yeah, Glenn is our director. And I said, well, we go through the whole show, 10 minutes ahead of time. I said, let's look, because normally we have 100. Even before we go on with the stream here on Fox 10 Talks, we have 100 people voting. Look at this. We're closing in on 500. You guys have strong feelings about your favorite pizza. So these are the top 4 pizza chains nationally.
Okay.
And they all sell just unbelievable amounts of pizza. And they're actually in order of total sales, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's why I did it like that. Domino's is getting 25%. Maybe after they roll out the stuffed crust, next time we do a poll, they'll be higher.
Yep.
Pizza Hut, I love Pizza Hut.
Yeah, me
Since I
too.
was a kid, I love the Super Supreme.
Yeah. And
Right?
well, when I was a little kid, we used to go to Pizza Hut here in town and they always had the salad buffet.
Oh.
And so you could go up and like get a salad buffet in the middle of the restaurant.
Oh, yeah,
Do
I
you remember
that.
those?
Sure.
And I always loved I love the pan crust because it's like crispy and doughy and oh, it's so good.
Yeah, I'm with you. So I'm actually, if I were to have voted in this poll today, I'd be there with Pizza Hut. But the grandkids like Papa John's, and they're getting a lot of votes. They're currently in second place at 26%. And then Little Caesars is getting some love, although not a lot. Now, the Wall Street Journal is reporting that Pizza Hut is credited being the first of the big chains to roll out the stuffed crust pizza. But that was in 1995.
Wow.
With some splashy ads that actually back in the 90s included a future president by the name of Donald Trump.
Oh,
He was
my
in one of their ads. By the way, Little Caesars promoted their version. This was about 7 or 8 years ago, with the question, how much cheese can one pizza hold? And then Papa John's jumped on board in 2021. Here's Domino's, the #1 top-selling pizza chain, and they're finally on board. So,
Well, I think you have to look at each of their business plans. Like Pizza Hut really focused in on the pizza maybe, but Domino's, they spearheaded, maybe this is why they've sold more pizzas as of late.
Ooh.
Their app. Their app is really great. Have
Is
you ever
it?
ordered off the Domino's app?
I'm sure I have.
So we did last week actually, and
Yeah.
they actually say now it's baking, now it's pulled out of the oven, now the driver's
Wow.
on his way, now he's coming up, he's in the neighborhood.
Okay.
You know, like it's a really good app, and they
Well,
make it easy, and they've got great coupons.
I'm a little too much of a cheapskate, Celeste, to pay for the delivery. I hop in my car and drive to the nearest location.
Okay.
Anyway, Celeste, speaking of driving, I had promised my grandkids
Oh, I love this.
that I would take them someday to Washington, D.C. because they moved to the East Coast.
Yes.
And so now they're leaving the Carolinas and they're coming back home to Arizona, and I couldn't be happier. But I was chatting with their parents. That's my son Jordan too. Here I have a few tips. Number one, go to the Lincoln Memorial early in the morning. Do you notice the throngs and throngs of crowds?
No.
Correct. If you go there at like 7:30 or 8 o'clock in the morning before the tour buses arrive, it's just you and Abe.
Oh, wow.
It's cool.
Maybe you can light a candle and just have a just talk, talk
Yeah,
about
well.
maybe with the direction the country's going, Ron. Ask him for some wisdom.
Yeah, really. I actually went to Springfield, Illinois,
Mhm.
his hometown, where they have a
Yes.
beautiful library, and it's almost like it's like a interactive museum.
Yeah.
It's like a Disneyland type thing. And I bought a shirt there that said, "I miss Abe."
Oh,
But then we went into the Capitol, and here's the other
this
story I
is
was going to share.
amazing.
Yeah. So the thing is, Celeste, that when I took this next picture right here, it's of a very, very famous painting. That's look, there's Riley, and there's Ava Jane. They're kind of like checking their phones or whatever. And up above them
Aw.
is one of the most famous paintings. That's Lord Cornwallis surrendering to George Washington. I
Wow.
learned from one of my beloved family cousins
Uh-huh.
lives out there that my great 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 grandfather was there and present at the day that the British surrendered to the Americans, ending the Revolutionary
Wow.
War. I don't know if he's the first guy on the horse or way off in the distance, just a little speck. But I'm like, holy cow, that's kind of cool to know where Grandpa was back in
Yeah,
those
no
Revolutionary
kidding.
War days,
What a
right?
great story. And this paint, look how huge it is.
Oh,
So somebody
it's
actually
amazing.
painted this.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, it's really
What a
something.
work of art.
Okay, let's see. Can we squeeze in our last story here, Celeste? The
Let's do it,
list
Ron.
is out of the most welcoming cities in America. I was just going to bounce them off you, and then you can tell me if you agree. Do this. We only have 30 seconds left.
Okay.
Think of the most welcoming city you've ever been to. So, number one, according to Booking.com, St. Augustine, Florida, Newport, Rhode Island, Cape May, New Jersey, Joshua Tree, California. Number five, Sedona. Congrats, Sedona.
Oh, congrats, Sedona.
Do you have a town that pops into your head?
I was gonna say somewhere in Alabama. Where did we fly into?
Oh, Birmingham, or
Birmingham.
Tuscaloosa?
I'm gonna go Tuscaloosa.
Okay, and I'm going to go Lincoln, Nebraska.
Oh.
Those are some of the friendliest people. We got stories, but we also have to go. Can you
Oh,
believe it?
I know. Ron, welcome back, and we'll see y'all tomorrow. Have a great day.
Bye, everybody.